The spring sports season is underway, and the women's softball team gets back to 500 by sweeping a doubleheader against Dominican University. We kick off another season in North Central athletics right now on the Cardinal Report. Welcome to the Cardinal Report. I'm Marc Dahlquist. Joining me to start things off the spring season is head coach for the women's softball team, Jim Kulawiak. Coach, thanks so much for coming by.
Quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
So, Coach, your team starts off with a 4-6 record on the Arizona road trip. How was that road trip like for you and your team?
Well, I have to be honest. It was something we haven't experienced in a while, probably about exactly 18 years, I think, since we had a spring trip that we actually didn't come back with a winning record. So, a little different for us, but hopefully we got some things on the trip ironed out that maybe will help us back here.
The record was a little disappointing, but you guys were able to come back on your home field and move up to 500 with 2 wins and a doubleheader against Dominican. That had to have helped, set the tone for the rest of the season.
Well, we're hoping so. We'll be back at it again here shortly, and hopefully something we can continue to improve on.
How do you guys hope to build off last year's momentum? You guys made it to regionals for the second straight year, or do you look at this as just sort of a new season altogether?
It is. You can't really have a continuation unless you have a tremendous amount of returning players, and we're in just the opposite mode right now. Better than half the team is freshmen.
Well, the Cardinal Report was there to see the team protect their home field. Let's go to the highlight. Grounds crew laying down the foul lines for the Cardinal home opener. Dominican University and pitcher Jordy Sakali come to town with a 7-5 record as the Cardinals take Schanhauer Field for the first time this season with a 4-6 record. Kayla Antle at the plate in the bottom of the first. She lays down a bunt, and a bad throw by Sakali allows her and Taylor Ryan to advance to second and third with no outs. That brings up senior Mary Karen. She sends a shot to right field. That would score both Ryan and Antle, and the Cardinals lead 2-0 after 1. Vlastamangia in control over the next 3 innings, allowing only 1 base runner and striking out 3, and the Cardinals lead 5-0 after 5 innings of play. Things would get interesting in the 6th when Corey Wimmer sends a bomb to center. That would score 2 and cut the lead to 3. Then Andrea Pinarski hits one that normally wouldn't get past Ryan, but 2 more stars cross the plate and it's a 1-run game after 6. But Mangio would get some of those runs back herself in the bottom half of the inning as her hit to deep left drives in Ryan, and she would steal home later in the inning on a wild throw. Mangio would stay in to finish the complete game, getting Emily Mahoney to ground out to first for the final out, and the Cardinals take game 1 7-5. Go on to win game 2 2-0. Coach, you mentioned it, before the highlight that this is a young team. How have you approached the season, knowing that there's so many underclassmen that you're coaching?
Well, on the trip, we tried to play as many as we could, and we had a lot of changes in the lineup, which over time, from my experience, you're better off trying to have a set lineup. But it was something that we had to see from our point of view, who matched up in certain areas the best. And I think now we've settled on it for the most part, and I'm hoping we'll get more consistency because of it.
You guys jump out in that first game against Dominican in the first inning. How important is it to this Cardinal team to get some runs on the board early on?
It is very important. It's something that we really struggled with in Arizona. We were behind so often, and it does change a little bit the way you approach the game. And the early scoring certainly can help you, and it's something that we actually talked about yesterday in practice too, was the fact that we've got to start scoring early and start scoring more.
And it's got to, help when you have Vlastamangia on the mound. She's got the best record on the team right now as far as pitching goes. Does this team have a different sort of confidence when she's in the pitching circle?
Well, I think she's a little bit more experienced, having gone through last year, and I think that certainly helps. But even her, she's in a situation where she's only a sophomore.
Right.
So there's still some growing that needs to be taking place there as well.
and you could see a little bit of that youth in the Cardinals in that 6th inning in the first game. You basically played 13 great innings of defense, but then just that one inning. Talk about that inning there for a little bit where the Stars were able to come back and score 4 runs.
Well, that's one of the things we've had some problems with. Even, again, going back to Arizona, we've had some lapses. And in most cases, I don't think it's because of the degree of difficulty in terms of the play that's been established. It's more of a situation where we've made mistakes on routine plays and then compounded them with a mental mistake as well.
How tough is it for the team, to understand that everybody's going to make errors and bounce back and just get that third out to get out of the inning?
When you're dealing with a young group, it can easily multiply, and it's something that we've got to overcome, and I'm hoping at some point we're going to get a few more people that will step up in terms of the leadership and keep things under control to try to avert those things from continuing to be a problem.
The Cardinals were able to get out of the inning, still holding on to a one-run lead, but then in the bottom of the half, you guys come back and you're able to get some of those runs back. That's got to help the confidence as well.
It really helped us getting the runs back because if it would have been a one-run game going in the last inning, I think Dominican would have had a great advantage going into that inning.
Well, the team had a tough 6th inning against the Stars, but were able to bounce back. That's the focus in this edition of What's the Word?
We had a couple errors that cost a couple runs, and we were very frazzled, and what we needed to do is just come together as a team, relax, take a deep breath, and know that we needed to get 3 outs and just get out of that and forget about it. So I think that's what we were trying to do, is just gather ourselves and know that this needs to end right now.
I tend to make throwing errors. That's something I truly need to work on just to make the team better. I know Coach gets really upset about it, and it does hurt our team, so that's something I do need to work on my own. But other than that, if we eliminate some of the errors, they won't get that big inning.
We can make errors. Everybody makes errors, but we're told that, you got to come back stronger the second time. We tell each other, if somebody makes an error, you got to come back at the next play. I don't care about the last one, but you got to get the next one. So I think that's just the mentality that we have learned, and we just got to keep that up through the rest of the season.
We went down, we had that one bad inning, and we could have just let them walk all over us, but we didn't. We came back, we made the outs, and we got on base and got some insurance runs. It just shows that we had the focus and intensity into the game. We were into the game.
Coach, the second game of that doubleheader was a lot different, not as high scoring of a game, a very low scoring game. So how does both those type of games sort of help you guys, know where you'll be in tight situations?
Well, usually when you play close games, down the road, it seems to help you. I'm hoping that'll be the case. I thought Katie Crawford did a real fine job keeping us in that game the entire way, because when you're in a low-scoring game, 1 or 2 runs obviously can make the difference. And fortunately for us, we were able to score, and she kept us in it all the way till the end.
So you guys come into the season, you're picked number 1 by the coaches in the CCIW after winning the CCIW tournament last year. Does this team feel any pressure to live up to those expectations, or are they ready to basically show that they deserve that?
I think at this point in time right now, we're just trying to focus in on the next game coming up, irregardless if it's conference or non-conference. And I don't really think the preseason poll is something that we're keeping in the forefront.
So it's just something that you hear about, but you really don't take it into account because it really doesn't matter. Once the season starts, the rankings are off.
Well, to be really honest about it, no matter what the sport, no matter what the level, normally ratings come out or polls come out based on what you did last year. Mm-hmm. And in fairness to the team we have right now, what was accomplished last year was a totally different group of players.
Talk about the players that are returning from last year. I know that you've got a couple of seniors in Mary Carey and Katie Crawford. How have they helped carry on the tradition from years past onto this Cardinal team?
Well, I think they've really put forth a good effort in terms of trying to maintain leadership and communicate with the players. Because we have such a young group, it's so important for them to convey the message, the understanding, the tradition, and it takes a while. It's not something that happens overnight. And they've showed good stick-to-itiveness with that.
And who are some of the newcomers that have joined this team that you feel could really have an impact, not this season but years to come?
Well, I guess I would have to say Carly Trenhale. She had a big home run for us down in Arizona, and has played pretty consistently so far. I also would say Kayla Antle, who's been one of our leading hitters currently, and Jordan Beck right now. Those three right now are probably the most consistent of the young group.
So who are some of these teams in the CCIW that the Cardinals are going to have to look out for, teams that may have, a couple more returning players than they do?
Well, obviously Carthage, who we beat in the conference tournament, I would have to mention first. And then it looks right now that Illinois Wesleyan and Wheaton, Augustana, Elmhurst is off to a tremendous start. The whole conference right now is really playing well. I believe 6 of the 8 squads already have 10 wins or more.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing it play out the rest of the season. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, Coach and I will be joined by 2 Cardinals getting it done on the diamond.